Houseplants bring a wealth of benefits to all of us who have them in our home. A lot of people like to decorate their interior spaces with plants because they have a lot of nice aesthetic qualities. Another good reason to grow houseplants is that they can make our homes healthier. Plants produce oxygen, which we obviously need, and they also provide a little bit of humidity, which is very beneficial in the wintertime when the air is very dry. Another good reason to have houseplants is that they can take particles out of the air like dust and some harmful substances like formaldehyde. And it's also just a good idea to have a nice, healthy, green, growing plant in the home just to keep us close to nature. Well, if you're just getting started growing houseplants, or maybe you're a person who has a busy lifestyle and you don't have the time that you would like to tend to your plants, you'll need to know which plants can tolerate some degree of neglect. So today I'd just like to show you a few of the tougher houseplants. We'll start with this one right here. This is the cast iron plant, and with a name like that you can be sure that it is a tough plant. Just feeling of the leaves here, they're very tough, almost leathery like, and also a good indication that it is a tough plant. This will tolerate lower levels of light. The plant's actually in the lily family, and they're somewhat winter hardy. You can actually grow these outdoors in a protected spot in the shade in southern Oklahoma. We see them a lot in landscapes down in Texas, like Dallas and further south, in shaded areas. If you notice the leaves starting to split of your cast iron plant, that's because it has too much nitrogen. And you'll want to keep this in a dark spot and let it get pretty dry before you water it. An interesting fact about the house plant is that when it flowers, and they rarely flower in the pot or in the landscape, but in their native habitat, when they flower down near the ground, a little maroon type flower. And it's interesting that they're pollinated by snails. The cast iron plant, a very tough plant. The English ivy is a plant that is hardy outdoors in Oklahoma. We can grow this in the ground, let it climb structures and things like that. It also makes a nice house plant, very tough one. You can locate varieties that have a lot of variegation in the leaves, either white or gold or some other colors. Can make some really nice varieties. You can pinch the ends of the English ivy to make it a little bushier. And because this plant is used to a cool season, it can actually handle some fairly cool temperatures in the home. So if you have a cool drafty spot around 50 degrees, that'd be perfect for the English ivy. Right here is another type of ivy. This is the devil's ivy, and this is a highly variegated one called Marble Queen, and you can see it's got a lot of white in the leaves. There are also other varieties that have gold colors in the leaves, and this is a very long-lived plant, good tough plant for the home. Can either be positioned where these stems can trail over things, or you can attach them to climbing objects. I had one of these in an apartment I had in Tulsa in the corner where several of the branches trailed down to the floor, and I had others pinned up the wall, so it made a really nice display of greenery. Right here is the peace lily, also called white sails. It's in the same family as the caladium and elephant ears, the Eraceae, so you get these white arum type flowers. And this plant will grow in probably lower light than any other house plant. And it's also one that'll flower dependably for you indoors. Right here we have the snake plants, also called mother-in-law's tongues. And some people think that the foliage looks like the skin of a snake. And I could probably do an entire segment on the different mother-in-law's tongues or sansevierias, because there's so many different cultivars and varieties. You can see this one is large and upright, and down here we have one that is highly variegated and has much shorter leaves, but a very, very tough plant. Let it get really dry before you water it again. Right here we have some different types of plants, the dragon trees, and this gives you just a different effect for your home. The leaves naturally fall off and you get these wonderful trunks on the dragon trees or dracaenas. And this cultivar is called Colorama. It's got a lot of pink in the foliage. Very tough, very tolerant to a lot of varying conditions in the home. Last plant I want to show you is this spider plant or airplane plant. Tough plant, very popular. This one, of course, is variegated, has a lot of the white in the foliage, and one of the things that makes these plants so popular is that it always produces lots of these little babies on the ends of these stems. You can kind of see some roots starting to form here. As these get a little bit longer, you can just cut that loose, pot it up in a pot of soil, and grow several plants of the airplane plant. Well, just remember, in the wintertime, your plants aren't growing as much, so you can cut back the water. And I hope I've shown you a few plants that will brighten up your home.